Okay. All right. Let's have you go, Krista.
Alrighty.
Tell me. I will be the seller.
Okay.
Okay. Um, and you go.
All right. So thank you so much for meeting with me today. I'm really excited to get to know you, your home, and also your goals when selling your home. And by the end of our conversation today, my goal is really for you to fully understand not only my strategies and processes in place to help successfully sell your home at the best terms, price, and conditions, but also how I'm able to relieve as much stress as possible for you during this process. So how does that sound?
That would be great. I've been kind of wondering, we're not really sure we're going to put it on the market, but if we have the right numbers, then it would make sense.
Okay, great. Yeah. And I know you probably want to get into the specifics and pricing your home and all of that. But before we get into all of that, I would love to go over what I call my expert home selling solution. So why I do this is because I want you to be fully aware of all the strategies that I have in place that I have used before that have a great outcome, come out with the seller coming out with the best terms, price, and condition. So it's important, right? Because this could be one of your biggest assets. And I want you to know that these strategies and processes, they address both wealth and stability. So I really want you to know that you're in good hands because I do have these strategies in place when selling your home. So the first thing I want to get into is what I call my five-step pledge. Now, this is a promise to myself, but more importantly, my clients on the standard of business that I'm always going to be performing in. There's 11 points right here. I'll run through them right now. It's really the backbone of my business. It's everything that I do is backed by this five-star pledge. So I think it's really important to go through. So the first thing on here is to always be honest in all communication. Now, of course, communication is very, very important, but I think more important than that is honest communication. So I want you to know that I'm always going to be honest with you throughout this entire process. Um, because the process of selling your home and then buying a home is very, very stressful. It's actually one of the top five stressors in one's life. So I'm here to help make it as stress-free as possible. So how do I do that, right? Honest and all communication, like I mentioned. I'll also maintain the utmost confidentiality, represent your best interests, have care and compassion when trying to understand your needs, and also consult and communicate with you throughout the entire process. So I'm not just here and there. I'm going to be here from the minute we start working together until the very, very end. I want you to know that you can always rely on me and use me as your guide because that is what I'm here for. Next thing I want to
Okay.
mention is that I do have resources that I can offer to you to help you expand your knowledge of the home buying or selling process, or just to keep you current in all matters. So if there's anything that you're unsure about, that you have some questions about, if you want any sort of resource to help you further understand it, please let me know. I can send you any resources. I can go through them with you, so that way you have a full, thorough grasp on every facet of the home buying or selling process. The
I,
next, sorry, I just interrupted you.
you're good. I'm
Um,
going to throw little things in there to throw you off.
okay, great. The next thing in here I'd like to mention is that I'm going to comply with all state and federal legal obligations and display the utmost integrity. So things have changed and things will continue to change. So I want you to know that I'm constantly educating myself so that way I'm always complying with all legal obligations and we will not run into any issues on that end. Next is to disclose material facts as soon as they are discovered. So throughout the processes that I'll get into later, things are going to pop up. And I want you to know that as soon as they do, I do have systems in place that we're able to work through those together. And of course, we're going to work through them together. So I'm going to disclose them to you. We'll have a conversation and we'll figure out moving forward what's the best plan of action. Next is to help you find answers to any questions that may arise and always look out for your best interests, as well as always be always be open to listening to your concerns and addressing them in a manner of utmost importance. So as I said at the beginning of this, it's very, very stressful and questions are going to come up. I don't want you to ever think there is a question too small or too silly to ask. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to answer your questions and I'm here to make you feel more stable throughout this process. So if anything comes up, please know you can ask me questions. You can ask them at any time. If I'm sleeping, I will get to them as soon as I wake up. Throughout this process, anything that comes up, any concern, any question is important to me, and I want you to know that you can ask me anything whenever. And last on here is negotiate with your direction to help you obtain the best price, terms, and conditions. And this is all on your behalf. So while yes, I do have negotiation strategies and I have learned and studied and figure out great negotiation tactics, everything is on your behalf. So you're the driving force of this, and I want you to know that I'm never going to do anything that you don't want. It's all in your best favor. So all in all, I just want you to know that I'm not just in it for this one real estate experience. I would love to be your realtor for life. So this is signed and yours to keep. I hold myself accountable to it, and I hope that you can do the same. If any point, if you feel that maybe I'm not upholding my end, please have a conversation with me because it is a promise that I make. So do you have any questions with the 5-star pledge?
Um, I don't believe so. I think it sounds pretty fantastic.
Okay, awesome. No. So the next thing I'd like to go over is that there are 3 of us within this transaction, right? So of course, the first 2 are going to be you and I, right? And the other thing that's involved in this transaction is the market. So when it comes to the market, there's really nothing that either of us can do to control it, right? But what we can do is we can read about it, we can study it, and really have a thorough grasp on what's happening within the market, which I do have expertise in. So if we all, you, me, and the market, we all work together, I'm able to read the market and communicate to you what's happening with the market, then we're going to have great success when selling your home. So when we talk about the market, we can talk about the things that are involved with the market and what compromises it, right? So things we need to watch for the economy, interest rates, as well as corrections, and then inventory. So we can look at the lack of inventory, too much inventory. So that's all going to affect then the sale of your home, right? So they all align. I'm going to make sure I study. I'm going to make sure I read. I'm going to look at more than what's just on the news, right? And that's going to help me have a pulse on it and me be able to communicate with you and then us to have a great plan moving forward when selling your home. Any questions with the market?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty straightforward, and I like the way that you explained it.
Awesome. So then we can talk about your role in all of this, right? So some things that you have control over is property condition. So you're in charge of that. You're in charge of the things it will take to affect the condition of your home, right? So we're going to put your home on the market, and that means we're comparing it to all the other homes on the market. So we really want to make sure that we are rising above the competition when it comes to property condition. Another responsibility of yours is sales terms. So we'll have a conversation, we'll communicate, and I can talk with you to see what it is that you're okay with, and certain other factors that go into selling a home, like like your moving date, if you have to be out at a certain point in time, if you aren't having too much of stress when it comes to moving, if you don't have to have that timeline. We'll also look into things like how much or if you're willing to facilitate paying a buyer's agent, or closing costs, things like that. So we're going to talk about those up front. And of course, throughout the time, if your home is listed, if things change, that is okay. We'll have a conversation with that. So that way we are all on the same page. And then the last thing on here that is part of your role is pricing. So you're completely in control of the price of your home. Of course, I'm going to help guide you. I'm going to help give you advice, but it's up to you, for you to decide what price you want to list your home at. Does that all make sense for you?
It does. So just to clarify, like how again do we set the price of the home?
So I'm gonna have some other homes that are similar to your home. So that way you have a little bit of a range to base your home on. You can look at those other homes and compare your current home to them. And then based in that, you can kind of figure out on your own what price you would like to list your home at. So I'll give you info on the market. I'll give you info on nearby homes in your neighborhood or homes that have recently sold. So that way you can have all that information and price it the best that it possibly can be priced.
So are you gonna guide me at all with that? Because I don't know how to.
I'll give you my opinion, but it's completely up to you to set the price. So I can give you a range based on the homes that I've looked at that have recently sold or that are currently on the market compared to your home. And then you can decide within that range. I'll give you my advice, but I will not be setting the price.
But what if I don't care what your advice is and I think that my house is worth 100,000 more? Will you still list the property?
I will list it, but if let's say I think your home is 100,000 less than what you think your home is worth, um, I'm also going to give my advice on that, and I'm going to explain this is what's going to happen if we do list it at, this much overvalue. 100,000 is a lot above value. So if that is the case, then I'm going to work with you and let you know if we do list it over this, it might sit on the market. It's going to cost you more time, effort, money, right? Because if you don't list it with what makes sense in the current market, then you're just going to be paying more money with the time that it's going to be sitting. And I don't want that for you. And I'm sure you don't want that for yourself as well.
Sure. So real quick, I'm gonna pause you right there, Krista, so I can help you through
Yeah.
this. Um, on the thing, you can say, okay, at that point, I would ask you, how serious are you when given market evidence about selling your home? Is it
Okay.
just something that you would like to happen, or is it something that you really want to make happen? Because, um, it'd be a lot like me going out today and saying, I want 10 million a share for my Tesla stock, when that's
Hmm.
simply not what the market is. Everybody's going to say, okay, nope, I'm going to go down the street and buy the Tesla stock that's selling all day, every day for 300 a share.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So at some point, we still have to be based in reality. So as long as you're listing, I invoke three different pricing strategies and three different marketing strategies. One,
Hmm.
you could see your home sitting on the market and expiring, and we'll have to figure out the cost of holding, because that may far outweigh the cost of what you think you're going to gain by overpricing it.
Right.
Um, Usually mid to low range, and this market is working to get your home sold. Mid range is going to bring you about 90 to 100 days on market currently here in Utah. You have to see what it is in Vegas. I think it's
Hmm.
when you price on the low range, that's often the times that you'll see multiple offers. Studies show that pricing in the low range actually brings more than the other two pricing strategies and get your home sold more quickly.
Okay.
So when
So,
somebody asks you that, because they will in the listing appointment, I've been asked that a million.
yeah.
And at some point, it doesn't make sense for me to invest my time and money into something that just isn't going to sell. And so at that point, I would
Right.
ask to see how serious you are about needing to have your home sold.
Okay. Got it.
Because I can't waste my time on whims
Yeah.
and prayers, right?
Right. So then
And
at a
that's
certain point,
happening a lot
everybody
in this
gets
market.
frustrated.
Yeah.
And then it's like they could come at you being like, but you told me my home would
Mhm.
sell. And you're like, well, it
Mhm.
will sell, but you priced it incorrect. And I tried to tell you that. So,
Yeah, and you wouldn't listen.
right. Right.
And here we are.
Yeah, exactly. I knew
And I
this
would
would
just say, and if
happen.
we do implement that, the amount of money that I'm putting into it would be something that you would have to pay up front, because that's a strategy that I
Mm,
don't want to invest in without a surety,
okay.
you know?
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
Okay.
move along. There you go. That was good.
Sweet. So then the last part of this is me. So what's my role as the agent? My role is marketing, right? So I'm going to make sure I maximize um, the home's appeal online to get the maximum amount of buyers. So currently, the first showing is done online, right? So they click on a website, they see photos of your home. That's the first showing, and every showing after that, where the person then comes into your property, is actually the second showing, which is a very important showing. So I want you to know that I'm going to appeal to the maximum amount of buyers so we can get the maximum amount of second showings. Another thing that is my role is creating urgency in the negotiation strategy. So I want you to know that throughout my time and the things I've done with my negotiation strategy, I'm going to create urgency, whether that is positioning your home in the best possible position or negotiations tactics I can do when I get the first showing. So that way, when people do make an offer, it is a clean offer and not too much back and forth when it comes to negotiation. And lastly is deal life support. So I'm here to keep everything together to cause the home to sell. That's my job, is to keep everybody calm and get a sale on your home. So now that we've gone over all three of our roles in this transaction, do you have any questions?
Hmm? I don't believe so. So basically, the market is the market. You're there to read the market and deal doctor, and I'm here, I control price and condition.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, makes sense.
Great.
Excellent.
So moving forward, I also want to go over the 4 reasons why your home will sell. So the 4 reasons are price, condition, location, and marketing. So as we mentioned before, price is something you control. I'll give my direction and all the information, and then ultimately you decide within reason. Condition also is something you control, and you also decide how you want to control it. So we'll look at things with staging, neutralizing colors, possibly odors, and the different upgrades that we can do that would have a good return on investment, and put your best foot forward and cause your home to sell. Then we look at location. So location is neutral. We can't move your home from its location. But my job is to help you optimize positive aspects of the location and reduce the negative aspects. So let's say it's not in the best location. I'll reduce the negative aspects by suggesting adding something that would help boost it. If it's across from a really, really busy street, we could look at a taller fence, things like that, that could possibly boost the location if location is a main reason why the home could not sell at your best terms, price, and condition. The last reason is marketing. So again, that's what you're using me for. I have my multifaceted approaches, and I want to make sure that anybody who's even thinking about purchasing a home in your area is exposed to your home through our marketing. We also do open houses, door knocking. We use social media to really get your home out there and to get it accessed by anybody looking in your area. All in all, there are more than 100 controllable factors that influence your home selling price and the final amount that you pocket after the sale. I'm the one that helps you manage these because 100 plus is a lot. Like I said, this is very, very stressful. So I'm going to help you manage all of these, and we're going to work together to find the best path for you. So that way you can secure a sale at the top of your home's value range. That's not just a value range of the neighborhood. It's really the top of your home's value range. So do you have any questions with the 4 reasons why a home will sell, anything like that?
It all makes sense. No, you said it very well.
Perfect. So next, there's just a couple of facts that I'd like to go over that I think are interesting and are worth explaining to you, especially because you might go through the process of selling a home. So these are facts that are figures put out by the National Association of Realtors every year. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to go through the ones that do immediately affect you and your situation. But They're all on here, so if you want to read them, please do. The first one I'd like to go over is that maximum exposure to every available buyer is what will ensure the highest and best price and terms. So we're going to develop a strategy to expose you to all of your options. That way you can really see what is the best path to go for your specific situation. So what I do know is that you need to be exposed to every single buyer out there in order to know what your home will actually sell for on the market. So if it's only exposed to a handful of buyers and you get an offer or you're selling it on your own, you don't really know what the best terms and price you can get for that home is because it's not being exposed to as many people as possible. So that's why we do follow that law of maximum exposure. We don't leave any stone unturned to make sure that everybody knows that your home is for sale and they're exposed to all that and you're able to get the highest and best price and terms.
So the marketing creates the demand, right? And
Right.
the exposure, that's what the marketing is. So that's why we do targeted marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you'll want to explain a little bit there about the targeted marketing.
Okay.
I always say something like, have you ever thought about buying shoes? And then you have
Right.
ads show up online. That's what we do with that. Just kind of add that in there. And
Okay.
that's how we make sure. Another way maximum exposure is 89% of homes are bought through a um, buyer agent. So we also market to all the other buyer agents out there to make sure that they know to bring their buyers. We're not leaving any stone unturned, as you said. Yeah,
Okay.
very good.
Yep.
Yep.
The next fact I'd like to go over is that up to 25% of homes that hit the market fail to sell within the first 2 months. So everything that we address when it comes to price, condition, location, and marketing, which we went over um, just a little bit ago, we're going to address upfront. So that way that your home will never fall on that list of homes that fail to sell or even go expired. So we're going to have a smooth and predictable sales time because we are addressing everything up front. And I do have these systems in place. So that way you can feel stable. You can feel a little less stressed throughout this process. I'm always going to communicate with you anything that's happening within the views on your home, showings, things like that, any feedback, which I'll get into a little bit later within my expert home selling solution. But I want you to know that with my communication with my systems, you're going to have a smooth and predictable sales time. And then the last fact I think that's important to go over is that 89% of home buyers use an agent when buying a home. So that's nearly all, right? That's 90%. So there's 11% that aren't using an agent when buying a home. So we're going to have to address that as well as possibly facilitating the buyer's agent payment, which is their advocate. This is actually protection for you because it will take a lot of liability off of us because it will make their agent fully represent them and advocate for them. But with that as well, we're going to have to look at also marketing to them. So as I mentioned, maximum exposure before, to market your home to every available buyer. If 89% of buyers are using agents, I'm also going to be marketing to agents and their buyers.
Good.
Any questions?
I don't think so. I think it's very good.
Okay.
I think you did an amazing job on that. I'm gonna have to cut you right there just for a second, just because we
No,
have
you're
to
good.
move on to level 3, 2, and
No, you're
3.
good. Oh, no worries.
And we've got to hop into the other link, which is what that
Okay.
one was. But you know it, Krista. You know it. I think it's just getting you in front of the right people in
Right.
the meantime. So whether you're assisting Shauna or me or doing it, so getting you in front of the right people
Yeah.
will be huge. And that's what I've been working on with Bold Trail, but
Yeah. I think
trying
that's
to
the
speak
thing.
their language to actually get our things set up.
Right. Like I've done it enough times, whether it's on here or practiced it on my own. Like I've really gotten a script now where it's like, if I do, like, that's like the buyer one. I've never done the listing one to somebody, but the buyer one I've done to, you know,
Mhm.
a handful of people. And it's like, yeah, it's a little bit different because, yeah, I'm not sitting in the comfort of my home talking with nobody else around. I'm speaking to someone, they're going to have random questions that pop up. But like, because I've done it so much and because I have my script in my head, like, if even if they ask a question, like all I'm worrying about is the question. I'm not worrying about, okay, now where do I pick up? Like, what do I say next
Mhm.
on this sheet? So it's nice that I feel comfortable enough with it, but yeah, I want to get out, especially the listing one. I would like to get out and do it to a few more people in person. So that
Mhm.
way I can get that experience, but
Mhm.
you know,
That's all it's gonna take. That's all it's
yeah.
gonna take. All right, so I'm gonna hop off here really quick. Marianne, you here? And we think it's that other link that you had that we need to hop
Okay.
into for level
All
3.
right, Krista, I was gonna say, I thought you did good. I like the order that you did it in. It flowed and was natural.
Did a
Thanks.
good job, didn't she, Marianne, for
Yeah,
never having actually sat in one? She did a great job.
it's really good.
Thanks.
So, all right, I'll see you in the other link.
Okay.
Alrighty. I have the link too. You want me to join? Yeah.
Sure.